Welcome back to Operation Thunderclap. This is turn 13 for the Italians, and it is July of 1942. We'll just get into a little bit of housekeeping first, because there was a couple of little errors on my turn, and then just a couple of other little minor issues that we need to fix up. So I'm just going to come around to this side of the board. So the first mistake was this battle back here on the Japanese turn. The narrow crossing does cut through I-13? Yeah, I-13. So that movement through there while the British Navy was there was not legal. So one Marine couldn't assault into there. So it was only 3 land units in the end. We PBE'd it, and the surviving unit at the end was just 1 Japanese infantry. The other problem I had was, for some reason, I thought I had long range coming from the airbase with a movement of 6, but we only had a movement of 5. So all of the aircraft had to land back onto Sumatra. So that's a total of 4 fighters. I think Chris might only have 3, but there is 4 fighters there and 3 tacticals. So maybe that's where the confusion was. What else was there? I think that was the main errors on the Japanese turn, which we fixed up. On the FEC turn, 2 Marines were placed in the minor factory in Calcutta. So I've only placed 1. So I don't know what Chris wants to do with the other $4 for the FEC, whether he wants to save it or place another unit or do something else. But yeah, if you can just let us know. And I think that is it. So let's get into the Italian turn. Just a couple of minor things. All right, Italy has 1 tech dice to go for. We're just going to go for construction. So if we can finish that, that's at stage 3. Let's move that out of the way. That's that just spare Marine that the FEC bought. So we'll just have to figure out what to do with that, but that's not a big issue. All right, so where's my dice? Of course, I've left them on the other side. How annoying. Alright, here we go. Didn't even bother writing out my turn for Italy. There's so little to do. Alright, so the Italians are going to go for tech with 4 improved construction at a 7. And we get an 8. So we finish it. It's probably not going to mean a lot at this point, but finish improved construction. Next will be diplomacy. I'm going to go for Greece, which we've got at stage 1. Be nice to get that. 7, spoke too soon. All right, so purchases. Italy has 6 in the bank, and we're not spending any of it. We'll be saving it. All right, so what we'll do now is go into combat. There's 1 combat. So from Northern Italy with a movement, get this right, with a movement of 5, we've got a tactical and 2 fighters. They're going to come out into M3 into M2, where they're going to port strike. So the port or the dockyard straddles both M2 and A44. So they're going to port strike against these 4 naval transports are in port. 1 is American and 3 are British. So that's all we're going to do. So the tactical and the 2 Italian fighters are going to participate in that. So then they'll just land back into Northern Italy. So 1 into M3, 2 into M2, and then back home into Northern Italy. It shouldn't be a problem there. All right, so it's just the AA and the port strike that we'll roll for. That's the only battle because the Italian Navy has now been vanquished. We don't have a single ship on the board at this point. All right, so let's do the port strike before we do the AA. So we'll have the tactical, which will be the red dice, and then the 2 fighters will be the green. So the fighters at 6 and the tactical at 7. So we get 2 hits. We get the tactical hit and we get 1 fighter. All right, so 2 hits. I'll let Chris decide which ships will be dead. And then we've got to roll for the AA. So now we've got 3 AA coming back at us. And of course he gets a hit. So we will lose a fighter. So we will lose one Italian fighter in that port strike, and then he will lose probably 2 ships. I don't know if he wants to lose the British or the American one. I'll just put 2 on their side, and then he can decide what he wants to do there. So not a great trade for the Italians. I was hoping to get away with that with no AA hits, but AA seems to be punishing me in this game, so here's what it is. All right, so let's now get on to non-combat. It literally is just the planes flying back. So the 2 surviving planes being the tactical and the fighter returned back to northern Italy. That's the sum total of that. All right, there's no unit placement, so we have, we'll collect 5 for next turn. So that'll take us up to 11 for the Italians. All right, I'll turn it over now to Chris for the KMT and the Americans. Thanks for watching.